The Danziger Bridge shootings, which occurred on September 4, 2005, in the chaotic aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, represent a dark chapter in the history of post-disaster law enforcement. This incident involved members of the New Orleans Police Department opening fire on unarmed civilians, resulting in deaths and severe injuries, and was subsequently followed by a concerted effort to cover up the truth. This video will detail the events leading up to, during, and after the shootings, the subsequent investigations and trials, and the eventual outcomes for those involved, shedding light on the profound impact this tragedy had on the victims, the city of New Orleans, and the national conversation surrounding police accountability. In the days following Hurricane Katrina's devastating landfall on August 29, 2005, New Orleans descended into a state of disarray. Widespread flooding, power outages, and a breakdown of essential services created a desperate and dangerous environment. Thousands of residents were stranded, many seeking refuge in the Superdome and Convention Center, while others attempted to evacuate the city on foot. Law enforcement, including the New Orleans Police Department, faced unprecedented challenges in maintaining order, responding to emergencies, and managing the humanitarian crisis. Amidst the chaos, rumors of widespread looting, violence, and sniper fire circulated, contributing to a climate of fear and heightened tension among both civilians and law enforcement officers. It was in this highly volatile atmosphere that the events of September 4 unfolded on the Danziger Bridge, a critical evacuation route over the Industrial Canal. On the morning of September 4, a group of unarmed civilians, including members of the Bartholomew and Madison families, were attempting to cross the Danziger Bridge in search of food and supplies, and to meet family members. As they approached the bridge, several New Orleans police officers arrived in a budget rental truck and an unmarked police car. Without warning, the officers opened fire on the civilians with assault rifles and shotguns. James Brissett, 17, and Ronald Madison, 40, who was mentally disabled, were killed. For other individuals, Jose Bartholomew, Susan Bartholomew, Leonard Bartholomew III, and Leisha Bartholomew, were severely wounded. The officers involved later claimed they were responding to reports of officers under fire and that the civilians were armed and shooting at them. However, investigations would later reveal that these claims were false and that the victims were unarmed and posed no threat. Following the initial shooting, the involved officers immediately began to coordinate a cover-up. They planted a gun at the scene, fabricated witness accounts, and filed false reports to justify their actions and portray the victims as aggressors. Evidence was tampered with, and officers conspired to create a narrative that would absolve them of wrongdoing. This elaborate cover-up extended to the highest levels of the NOPD, with supervisors and commanders allegedly participating in or condoning the obstruction of justice. The goal was to conceal the truth of what transpired on the Danziger Bridge and protect the officers involved from accountability. However, inconsistencies in their stories and the severity of the victims' injuries soon raised suspicions, leading to initial investigations by both state and federal authorities. The initial state-level investigation into the Danziger Bridge shootings resulted in indictments against several officers, but these charges were later dismissed due to prosecutorial misconduct. It was the federal investigation, led by the U.S. Department of Justice, that ultimately brought the truth to light. This comprehensive inquiry uncovered the extent of the cover-up, including the planting of evidence, the fabrication of reports, and the perjury committed by officers. In 2011, 5 New Orleans police officers, Kenneth Bowen, Robert Gisevius, Anthony Falcon, Arthur Villaveso, and Gerard Dugue, were convicted on various federal charges, including civil rights violations and obstruction of justice. The convictions were hailed as a landmark victory for justice and police accountability. Despite the initial federal convictions, the legal saga of the Danziger Bridge shootings was far from over. In 2013, a federal judge overturned the convictions of the 5 officers, citing prosecutorial misconduct, specifically the anonymous online comments made by federal prosecutors. This decision led to a new round of legal proceedings. Ultimately, in 2016, 4 of the officers, Kenneth Bowen, Robert Gisevius, Anthony Falcon, and Arthur Villaveso, pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for significantly lighter sentences. Gerard Dugue, who was convicted of obstruction of justice, also received a reduced sentence. While the victims and their families expressed mixed feelings about the outcomes, the case nonetheless brought significant attention to issues of police brutality, accountability, and the challenges of achieving justice in complex cases involving law enforcement misconduct. The Danziger Bridge shootings remain a poignant reminder of the fragility of justice in times of crisis and the enduring fight for civil rights. The Danziger Bridge shootings stand as a tragic testament to the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the breakdown of order in the face of disaster. The incident not only claimed innocent lives and inflicted severe injuries but also exposed a deeply troubling culture of corruption and impunity within a segment of the New Orleans Police Department. While the legal battles were protracted and the outcomes imperfect, the case ultimately forced a reckoning with police misconduct and highlighted the critical importance of transparency and accountability in law enforcement. The legacy of the Danziger Bridge shootings continues to resonate, serving as a stark reminder of the need for robust oversight, ethical conduct, and unwavering commitment to justice, particularly in moments of crisis when communities are most vulnerable. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for more.